You have children or a child?
I have a daughter. She's
Yeah.
3.5 years old.
Okay, so 20 years from now, do you think she's going to be living in a freer world, a less free world? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it emerges unevenly across the world. I actually have a good series with Balaji about this. He has a thesis on centralized East, decentralized West. I think that's got some coherence to it. I fully intend to help contribute to a freer world. Obviously, I also think, and that's a drop in the bucket of what's actually happening.
And freer equates with decentralized, right? Generally speaking.
Yes, you could say that. Less coercion, right? Again, so the stronger your property rights are, the more capacity you have to say no or opt out or move your capital, yourself, etc. The more optionality the individual has, the freer they are, the better off we all are, right? We actually create more wealth in that world.
So when the right of exit is maximized, people behave better, systems behave better.
That's right. Just like, again, if we're sitting down to do a trade and we can't come to terms, at any point you could say no and walk out the door, right? That prevents any value from being destroyed. Like, unless we can come to terms and have mutual creation of value, then there's no deal, right? So you remove the option for coercion or imposition, you actually pragmatically create more wealth, capital, and satisfaction in the world.
Well, so you're 36, you're a millennial then, right?
Old millennial.
Yeah.
I think the cutoff's 38.
So you, among millennials, when you look at surveys and things like that, millennials tend to be more skeptical of capitalism, however they define that.
Because they haven't defined it properly.
Yeah. So what do you think's going on? Why do younger Americans seem to have a more negative opinion to things like capitalism, to things like markets, to things like profit?
Yeah, they're misattributing the current problems they see in the world. You hear this late stage capitalism a lot, but as I said earlier, we're not even close to capitalism, right? Yeah. If you have a central bank, you're 50% communist out of the gate. Yeah. You've also given the government a mechanism to grow excessively. So things like in the US, healthcare is pretty communist, insurance is pretty communist, like all these industries
Retirement is very communist,
that are close to the state apparatus, finance,
education,
right? It's not capitalist whatsoever. So it's a miseducation, I guess. People don't understand what capitalism means. And I'm also convinced people, like, in a fiat world, maybe this has to do with the technological distraction we're all subject to, but some people are taking the time to think deeply. A lot of people are taking things at face value. A word like socialism just sounds better. Social, right? We all, I like to socialize. I'm a social person. I think people
I have a social disease. I don't know. We can play this either way.
I don't know.
But,
And social media has got kind of a mixed reputation. My point is this, so that capitalism is very obscure, kind of nebulous term. Like, people don't necessarily understand what capital means, but socialism just sounds friendlier, more comrade. You even hear young people calling each other comrade. Right. But there's so much ignorance behind that. Like, you haven't studied the 20th century at all if you're framing your world like that. Right. And I try to not get trapped in that by just talking about statism and non-statism. I think Bitcoin helps us transcend statism in all of its modes. Fascism, capitalism, which capitalism is actually not a state doctrine, but it's been co-opted by the state. Communism, socialism, etc. Bitcoin gets us to a transcendence of statism that's premised more on cooperation, less on coercion.